Hello, welcome to another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm good, Sal. How about you?
Doing wonderful, wonderful.
Sal, this is going to be a different day for us.
It certainly will be. One, we're usually recording in the morning, but more importantly, this is a very serious farm safety information day today.
Yeah, I think this is one that everybody needs to listen to, and everybody needs to share this episode.
Yep. So
what do you got for us?
With us today is a returning guest, Mr. Tony Wesner. Thank you for coming back and visiting with us again.
Good to see you guys
and
again.
This on a different topic. Usually we're talking eggs or avian health, but not today. And our guest of honor is Stephanie Flinn. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So a little introductions. Tony, would you go first? I know you've been on here before, but just kind of what you do and where you come from and what your day job is.
Well, I grew up in southwest part of the county, down on what they call the pocket in Driftwood, and grew up on a couple 1,000-acre grain operation. And so I grew up on the farm, and later in life left the farm and went to work for Rose Acres and learned the chicken trade, and that was 44 years ago, almost 45 years ago. And yeah, I'm the CEO at Rose Acres, and we've got about 25 million chickens in 7 different states laying eggs, and a couple other joint ventures with some more birds. So with our joint ventures, everything, we're a couple million dozen a day in production. So,
wow.
We get to do something honorable. We get to get up and help feed people every day, which you all know about too. So
we do our part.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. It is a subject that is near and dear to me, and Stephanie's a dear friend to me also.
Miss Stephanie, can you introduce yourself, and we'll talk a little bit about the topic today.
Sure. My name is Stephanie Flinn. I grew up, born and raised in this county, never left this county, out in Reddington area.
Yeah.
So that's where I think currently the farm we're going to talk about is 8th generation. So it's been a long time in the family. And my dad does have chickens, Tony, and I think we get 24 a day.
All right. That'll work.
So instead of 25 million, it's
maybe
25.
24 eggs. But that was one of my mom's hobbies, and those chickens, they're still laying.
Yeah.
So it's cold and they're still laying. So
Must mean the feed is right.
evidently they're happy chickens. I spent many years working for a manufacturer and distributor in Jackson County, Dixon's. And then 6 years ago, I moved to the to Schneck Medical Center, and I'm the executive director of the foundation.
All right.
I have, I'm married. My husband is a fireman. My youngest son is a fireman. And my oldest does all things farm. It's just been in his blood since birth. So
very good.
Yep.
Now, are they at the new fire station? Just
Mitchell,
right down the road.
Mitchell's right next door to us here, and Craig is out at Station 3 behind Home Depot.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, the topic today is, as we get in, and Stephanie, we're going to kind of basically turn this over to you, but the topic is farm safety. And I think all of us, you hear something at a farm accident and you think, boy, that was bad. And then we all kind of go on about our way, and we all know somebody and their lives have been impacted. And it's something that we take for granted, is the equipment we work around and the environment that we work in. And farming is one of the most hazardous occupations, and certainly the equipment and everything that we're around. But Stephanie, I don't know how else to broach the subject, but if you would kind of tell us how we got here today, and what I guess the first thing I want to talk to is the actual the initiative, the Maverick Minute. And if you would kind of tell us how we got here today, and the tragedy, I guess, that brought all this about, which we hope brings a positive.
Yes, that's really why we're here. Mostly is the tragedy that happened to us. We want to stop, and that story started on June 23rd. It was the first day Dad had the combine out, and wheat was great, and the consultant was down from northern Indiana, and life was great. In fact, my mom was in line with a wheat consultant at Dairy Queen getting snacks. He didn't know her. He had no idea who she was. They met each other as he was heading out to our farm. And so, just the irony of and that will all come together in a few minutes that you'll understand where Maverick Minute came from. Everything was calm, and that's not always the way it is on a farm. Especially the first day you're getting out in the field, and we bale that straw and we sell that straw. So we're harvesting, and there's a lot of machinery going, and weren't too far into the field, and my mom, and you'll hear me call her mom, you'll hear me call her Nanny, because when my oldest child was born, her name was Nancy, called her Nanny, and the entire world calls her Nanny now. So we will always call her Nanny. So you'll hear me call her by both names today. My grandson Maverick wanted to ride, who lives right on that property. And he did. And so my mom and Maverick were riding along in the combine, and had a great time. Maverick was finished, and Dad took them to the edge of the field, right at the edge of the field to the grass to get back in the yard. And Dad literally says that he lost a minute. He lost a minute. Like, he just does not know. Got back in the combine and went back to work. And that's when tragedy struck. And the accident took my mom and my grandson. Mitchell, Maverick's dad, was on the scene. He was driving a grain truck and is a first responder, is a fireman. So he was obviously first responder for his family that day. And in the days that followed, our community stepped up greatly, but to stay on task, that wheat consultant had reached back out to my dad and text and said, "What can I do? What how can we help up here?" And he just texted back and said, "Take a Maverick Minute. Just tell people to take a Maverick Minute." And that was my dad. That was he said those words. And I remember sitting at his kitchen table, when he texted that, and I'm like, that's a really powerful message. And that gentleman put a big post on Facebook about the accident. It was traveling very quickly. And to take a Maverick Minute. And that's what great grandpa had said that would be the most valuable thing that farmers could do at that point in time. And from there, Tony joined us, others joined us, and we've found a purpose in helping stop these kind of tragedies. You move fast on a farm. Sometimes it's in stress, and sometimes it's not stressful. But most of the times it's stressful, and everybody knows safety. But sometimes it's very hard to, in moments of storms, or it's gonna freeze tonight, or whatever the case may be, weather related generally. You can move too fast. And this is when tragedy strikes. And Tony and I were on a conference call a couple of weeks ago and discussed the fact that 84 children die in the U.S. in accidents a year. In the U.S. in farm related accidents a year. That's 84 little people that don't get to grow up on a farm. Yeah. And for us, my mom, who was very instrumental on the farm, and then our Maverick is, this is why, there are why that we're doing this, so that other people don't have to suffer through these losses, and can learn just to apply 1 minute of time.
And so, this, it's not so much just the how or the procedure. It's just the stopping and being conscious. Is that when we say just take a minute, we're thinking about whether you're in a skid steer or whether you're in a piece of equipment like a combine or a sprayer. Mm-hmm. Just take a minute to look around, to think about what you're doing.
Yep. It's a timeout. It's that moment that that just it applies in so many ways. It applies when you're late to get to work and there's rope instruction. It applies clearly on the farm. It applies in surgeries. It applies when you're losing your patience with a child. Like everything can change in 1 minute. And that is exactly the message. And while our initiative isn't to force anyone to create new safety initiatives, there are tons of safety initiatives. There's tons of things that we know. There's lots of ways to apply safety. Our message is take a minute on top of what you're doing, because it will save lives. We know that. We want to be able to help people fund and support initiatives that are safety related. And specifically, really, it's to walk through with children. It's really to get our youth to understand how important it is at a very young age. And a lot of that is, Maverick would have turned 5 on December 15th. And as I've thought about this foundation and where we're going and what we're doing with it, I can see Maverick following through his life at all of his stages, showing cattle, 4-H, FFA, all the things. And really my vision is that by the time Maverick's 18 and graduating high school, that kids his age all know his name and all know what the Maverick Minute means. Like it's important. And this little pause, inspect, protect message and asking people to take a Maverick Minute is a household conversation, especially in the farm world.
And that's just pause, inspect, protect.
That's right.
And you're not trying to reinvent any safety procedures.
No.
Those things are out there. You're right. We do a lot of safety training here at work, and I'm certain that Rose Acres does. That may not get down to the farm level a lot of times. We'll do, I know our loss control will do some grain entrapment or anhydrous training, and they'll work with the local firefighters to talk about, facility training. But a lot of times the safety training never gets to the farm. And even something just so simple as what you've laid out here, and taking the courage to, a lot of times you say that gets better with time and people try to forget, but having the courage to take this incident, this tragedy, and make it something that means something to more people. And, you may not know that, 2 to 5 years from now, when that number is only 40 or 50 or 30, but you won't know how many are affected, but somebody will have been.
You can do all the high level, high technical training you want, but a lot of times all it gets down to is slowing down, pay attention to what you're doing. And it's just that simple. And that's, we're not going to try to take the place of training or anything. Whatever, you can do all the training and still get hurt if you don't take that minute to remember your training, to remember where you're at, to remember things change in the blink of an eye. Your life can change in the blink of an eye. And so, that's, we want to take Maverick Minute. And we've used the analogy, we have every intention of making Maverick Minute the pink ribbon of farm safety and agriculture.
Very good.
That's awesome.
When you see a pink ribbon, we all know that's for breast health, that's for women, that's to do your tests, that's to pay attention to what's going on, that's to take a minute to take care of yourself. We want the Maverick Minute, and her and I are committed. Her family's committed. We have some other people very committed at this point. I don't really want to stop till when someone mentions Maverick Minute, there's no question what it is. Just like it is if you see a pink ribbon on
Make it a household name.
Yeah.
So I guess before we ask, or how can people get involved, but what's one of the first things for a farmer or a business to kind of implement this, it's really very simple, right? Just stop and look at your equipment before you get on, before you get in, before you start. I know in our DOT training, we're supposed to walk around the trucks. Now we've got cameras. I think we have the safety equipment, but for somebody to really make it a culture, what do you think they need to do, the first steps?
Well, I think, but as you mentioned, the walk-arounds and the all of the things, the safety measures are there. My brother and I have talked about this several times. He's a welder, and safety is there, and you can do it, and you can get so used to doing it that you don't know you're doing it. Your mind is already on something else, and so doing it and applying this story. So we're talking about physically doing exactly what you're supposed to do, following the protocol. But we're also asking you to understand why you're doing it, like the heart of it. And so if you understand what the Maverick Minute means and you apply that to walking around those vehicles or all the placards or all the things that you're doing, that's where we want you to get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
Maverick Minute, and I'll take just a second to talk about Maverick, because when you think of the word Maverick, we all have a definition, and he was a maverick. I mean, the boy was a maverick, and so just an amazing child with the most loving, ornery little. In everything and doing all the things and not scared of a thing and just going. And we're asking you to remember that and pause while you're going. Pause, slow down, just slow down, look around, make sure that while you're doing your safety things, you are also thinking about what you're doing, not just doing it because it's a box to check.
Yeah. And teaching, because kids don't know. I mean,
No.
4-H certainly trains and tells, but kids don't know, and they have no boundaries or barriers.
They don't have
fearless.
an understanding.
Yeah.
They don't have an understanding of what could happen. And that's something that has to change. No one wants them to not be on a farm. We would never promote stay away. Don't learn how to farm.
Yeah.
Don't learn how to be involved with your family. No, we want you to learn all the things, and especially how to be safe on your farm and prevent future accidents for families like ours.
I mean, you look at what, my dad's still alive, great guy, but spring and harvest, he sometimes turned into a different guy. I mean, it's just you're under the gun, you're fighting the weather, you have this window, so everything's ratcheted up 2 or 3 notches, and so as a young man, I learned that that's what you did. We had lots of close calls growing up, and my heart is in this because, my stepbrother, who was my very best friend, died in a grain bin at Acre Farms. And so, I was in that grain bin with him the day he died. We were in that bin for about 30 minutes that morning, and in a hurry, doing things, and the fire chief from Hamilton Township Fire Department also perished in that accident, Jack Shafstaw. So, this whole deal is about, it's just the nature of the beast. You're in a hurry. It's going to rain. I've only got 6 weeks or 8 weeks to get this done, and so things get ratcheted up, and rightly so. I get it, but we still have to be a reminder that, and it goes everywhere. I mean, me and Stephanie have talked. I drove my wife's new car today, and I can't even walk away from it or walk around it. It's not telling me where I am and throwing me on camera. So, John Deere needs to make sure that's on a case track, or on a John Deere piece of equipment case needs to make sure that, and so early on when she said, "Do you want to help with this?" I said, "Yeah, but how big are you willing to look?" Because, when Jeff got killed in 1986, he was 25, and he wasn't 5, but we were still kids. And we did the thing, you know, people gave money and we raised money and we gave out scholarships to produce short course and some other things and did those with FA. And all that is good stuff. But I told Steph, I said, it doesn't move the needle. Nothing moves the needle to save the 84 kids. And, you know, and she breathes kind of hard and it's daunting how are we going to get there? You know, and I kind of told her where I thought we needed to kind of go. But, and you go, well, how can we? And I don't know how we're going to get there. We're going to lay it at God's feet and try to figure it out. And Jeff Simmons, who's CEO at Elanco, I'm friends with him. He hooked us up with some very good Christian people that is helping us. And we had meeting. And if I'm getting ahead of myself, you want me to shut up? You have to tell me. But we had a meeting with National FFA a couple weeks ago, and I think they're going to come on board. And so we're thinking way bigger. We want to move the needle. We want to come up with a video like commercial that could be shown on national television, that could be shown on the RFD channel, shown at an FFA convention, shown at a Farm Progress show, shown at the Farm Machinery show. Could be on right after NBC News or be on NBC News and still fit. And we want to make something that's relevant today and relevant 20 years from now that talks about the Maverick Minute. And it can transcend way past agriculture. You know, I don't care what it is. It's
people mowing their yard.
You know.
Absolutely. The number of accidents with kids on mowers I mean, it is so relevant in so many ways. And I think one of the things that, you know, again, born and raised here, but Tony was on my heart during this when I thought, okay, we're going to do something with this. And I don't know what it is we're going to do. And July 2nd, one of my dear friends, Denise Connell, said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Is that all right? I'm like, go, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, she's an attorney and she's going to lock some things down. And Tony had been on my mind and I just reached out and said, would you think about this? I had no idea that Tony had lost his brother in that fashion. I had no idea. And when he says, lay this at God's feet, it's 7 months today. 7 months today was our accident. And the progress that we've made and the conversations that we've had and the people who are listening to us and giving us their time, giving us their talent, giving us the opportunity to say, we understand this. What are you going to do next? Well, we're trying to figure that out as quickly as we can, but we're going to be really intentional because we know what we want. We know what our ultimate goals are, and it's to stop these 84 children from dying every year. And I keep talking about Maverick. You know, my mom, Nanny, was one of the most giving people you would have ever met in your life. She was a professional at Cummins, and she would come home and make sure my dad was running the fields and my brother and I were at our sporting events. Or, I mean, she was, you know, friends that from childhood that came to her funeral. Like, I just remember your mom coming in her suit to ball games, and I thought, I want to be that. And so do I. And so I want to honor her in that, that, you know, losing a 5-year-old is terrible, 4-year-old at the time. Losing a 68-year-old that you didn't understand was the heart of the farm is a big loss too. So the applicable part of this is Maverick, but it pertains to loss of life on a farm at any age, any loss in your family, a family farm. When that's what makes your farm thrive, are the people in your lives, your family. That's what's really important to us. That's really, really important to us, that farm legacies are safe and secure. And these babies come home and these grandmas come home and they get to celebrate a lot of years together. And they were both doing what they loved. And you can't ask for more than that, you know, beautiful day, everything, but we want to honor them. We want to honor them while we move forward to stop this from happening. So the right people at the right time in the right place have just been really given to us. And it's in some ways it's hard to believe that it's been 7 months. And in other ways, it's like, how have we gotten this done in 7 months? What we've gotten done. We have a long, long way to go. But we're starting to see that path clearly. It's going to take a lot of work. But we really, really want to work hard to be able to financially support people in implementing stronger safety, more vibrant, more vocal about safety with the Maverick Minute.
I think as I sit here and listen to you guys, and I keep thinking about this Maverick Minute and being in those situations where, I've got to get this done. But what I can't quit thinking about is that's a minute you will never regret losing.
Oh,
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And, my dad has said it a million times. It's the 1 minute of my life. It's a 1 minute of my life. He's 70 years old that I want back. Like if I could go back and pick any 1 minute, it's that minute. That's how fast it happens. And that's hard for people to understand. And, you listen and you say, oh, that's a sad story. It could happen to you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's 1 minute. Literally our lives changed. All of our lives changed in 1 minute.
And now, the backup cameras on skid steers, those things are so available and so easy to install. And sometimes it may just be taking some time just to think about the equipment we have. What could we change? What could we fix? The guards on the power takeoffs, things like that. But it certainly seems like you've got the foundation, no play on words there, but you've got the foundation built for this because it started in kind of the community and then the township and now the city. And it seems like it's kind of at the spot now to go to what Tony was saying, where it's more national, there's no reason it has to go out in circles. It can start other circles in other places for awareness. What can people do, and how can they get involved?
You want to go first?
you go first.
Well, currently, like I said, we're still really in our building phase. We're about to come together in a powerful way to sit down and say, what does this look like? I'm putting people in the room that are going to push me pretty hard, I think.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that. But what people can do right now is, first of all, take the time, take the Maverick Minute. That is the most important message that we're going to send. That's the critical component, is to pause, inspect, and protect. That's it. Because when you do those things, you don't have to, you're going to live our purpose. You're going to live the Maverick Minute purpose. Like that is 100% our goal. Number two, I'd say, please keep watching and sharing and following, and make sure that people understand and know the story. We are most likely not just going to promote Maverick's story. We're going to be working on telling everybody's story. There's a lot of people in this situation, whether they've lost people or they've lost limbs or they've injured to the point of disability. I mean, there are so many stories that we want to just, we want to make sure their voices are heard too, because as we talked about before we started, we're having a hard time finding a really strong safety message / campaign in this arena. And so we feel like there's a gap that we are able to fill, not with our voices only, but with a lot of people's voices and a lot of people's stories. So that what I would say is number two. Now, if somebody wants to give us money, we would love that. That's our next bold move. Is we're going to be building. We're going to be building to the point that I think most likely our goal is to going to be giving a lot of money away. That's what we want.
Yeah.
We, again, are not going to try to create our own safety initiative. That is not what we want. We want you, if you're ready and this moves you, to take the initiative we have and blow it up. And for us to be able to financially support that as a Maverick Minute initiative on top of what's already happening. So currently we have a fund set up with the Greater Seymour Trust Fund in Seymour, and that's Seymour, Indiana. And that is, that's small, and we are taking money out as quickly as it's coming in. But all of that is continuing again 7 months in to build us, get us to the next steps, the next level. It will be in very short order. We'll have our website up, and we'll have a lot of content. That will be maverickminute.org. It's already established. So right now you'll go there and you'll say, oh, it's under construction. Be patient with us because it's been 7 months, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of people doing a lot of work, and it's a lot of emotional work. It's very hard to do this. Our entire family, my son, Mitchell and Mariah, they lost their son. Having these conversations and moving that direction, Mariah's parents and family, Craig and I, my brother and my sister-in-law, this ripples out so far. And of course my dad. I mean, there's a lot of emotion in this, and it's very hard. And we want to tell that story. We want to make sure people understand so that they don't experience this. Yeah. So those are the things I would say that's how people can get involved with us.
Is the work helping everyone heal?
I never thought I'd know much about traumatic grief. I guess I hoped. I never knew much about traumatic grief. I know people that have experienced things. Tony knows all about it. It's everybody grieves and heals in a different way, in a different space, in a different time. One of the things that we're learning very quickly through this, in a situation like this, it's very hard to go to grief share classes, or you can go to a grief share class where it would be about, I lost my mom, or I lost my grandson, or I lost my wife, or I lost my son. But to put this tragedy, there's not a grief share class for us. It's our family. I mean, our family is our core, because we understand each other, and we were there, experience something that no one should have to. And so the way each of us are healing is telling our stories in our way, and helping people understand how important it is to do this work. So yes, in a way, we've just had a lot of things come at us in the last 7 months. Also, I guess tragedy follows tragedy. So it's been kind of a lot of things for us, but yes, we feel like we're healing together. We're doing the work, and we're making this as much as we can about the next generation, the next people to stop this, to figure out how best we can utilize this story to help other people. And that's really our primary goal in establishing this foundation.
And we want this foundation to be sustainable. We like to get to where we're not under the gun all the time, looking like we got our hand out looking for money. But we take all you got today. But we think we can build a foundation that can be sustainable, that can be managed, smart and thrive off of itself, so to speak. And I serve on Hatch for Hunger, and we're providing today 1 million meals a day of protein. Wow. And that's where we're trying to get to, and we're doing that with eggs, we're doing that with chicken, we're doing that with pork. Not so much beef yet. Beef's kind of expensive. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
but and we've gotten people that have put money in. We got people that's putting protein in, and so, but it's going to end up being a sustainable thing, like a community foundation or whatever. So that's kind of my vision, and I'm hoping that we can get there. But we really hope to walk out here today with a big check from Premier, and so, but it's all that's going to come out, and where people have a chance to give, and but we have a consultant that helped us at Hatch, and he's going to help us raise funds here, and that's and God just keeps opening doors for us, and it's been kind of hard on me because I don't know how to push on Steph too hard. My wife is like, "Are you pushing too hard on her?" And it's amazing that sometimes I just send her a text with a heart and a praying hands, and she'll say, I kind of needed that today. How did you know that?
Yeah.
And that's a God thing. And so it's kind of been
It's happened so many times.
it's been a journey for me and her, and I'm pushy, and I want to go now, but we have to do things in God's time, and we have to heal in God's time, and ramming and jamming, you don't make the best decisions all the time. We need to let God make the decisions. We just have to be the tools to help get it done. So,
And we're doing our best to keep ourselves open to every opportunity.
we are,
It's
and not put
wide
God
open.
in a box.
Well, Tony, I just met Stephanie today, but I'm guessing just from what we've heard and what little I've got to converse with her, she's strong enough to handle you.
Yeah.
No, she is. She is, and I guess that's why I've always liked her so well. She can dish it out too. So we wanted you all to hear the story, and because I knew you would appreciate it. And Premier is local farmers, and we want to see that 84 kids go to 70 and go to 50. We want to see freshman FFA kids with a Maverick Minute shirt because they got talked about in a class curriculum. We want to see it on the screen at National FFA, and
I'd love to see a bunch of pink ribbons running around Indianapolis at the national convention with the Maverick Minute on it. So
we want.
It is. This great little tire. That's
perfect.
it. It's ready to roll.
So, and she's right. It's not just the 5-year-olds. It's the 25-year-olds. It's the 68-year-olds.
I think it's the corporations. We talk about farm safety, and everybody. If you talk to every farmer out there, he's going to tell you he's doing things safe.
Absolutely.
And if you go to the corporations, our guys say we're doing things safe, but we have structured corporate safety plans, and we put them through the training videos, and we make them take tests, and they have to sign off on it. But the Maverick Minute, it bolts on top of all these, because you could have all the training in the world, but if you don't take the Maverick Minute, it can all be for naught.
And here's the thing on all that training and all those programs and all that, I could sit here with a notepad and write you 2 pages of close calls me, my dad, my mom, and my other family members had in the whole time I was growing up, and how one of us didn't get killed, in the heat of the battle. And that is no different than any other operation up and down this road. I can just about guarantee it, or Premier or Rose Acres. Everybody's going, boys, we missed that. Yep. We lost sight of what was important. We was in a hurry. We didn't make sure this person was locking out and tagging out. And, it's just breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe a minute. Who's going to get hurt here? I still do it. I'm trying to get here today. I'm measuring minutes, and I'm measuring speed on my car to make sure I'm here at 3:30, and it's like, if I was very smart and I'm not, you'd be sitting there going, they'll do it when I get there. You're being done. But it's not how
we're not wired that way.
That's not how people in agriculture is wired. She's not wired that way. And so it transcends to everything in our lives when it gets right down to it.
And it does. I love your point about, all the safety measures and features, because my dad's combine, he added his own. I mean, he added backup cameras to his combine. He added features to it. And, someone asked that is not related to this might be your chuckle. Someone asked, well, why didn't he, like the rear view camera? But that doesn't a rear view mirror is what they asked. Like that's not a thing. And, Mitchell has talked about, he wants to see, and we've seen it, but he wants to see those blind spots drawn out, so people can really get a realization of what this really looks like. My dad is one of the most safest, most cautious. That's not what we're talking about here. Accidents happen. Pause for 1 minute and they will be less. There's a Leadership Jackson County class currently working with Mitchell to bring an ag safety program in the spring to Jackson County. And they're talking about very specific things like this. Like, people just need to be able to walk around and see and understand and know better. And that includes our farm community who think, I already know that. You do. You absolutely do. But when you get that visual and you can see how many yards or how many, that you aren't able to see behind a wheel, or you aren't able to see, that's when you apply this whole Maverick Minute concept. That's when you apply this.
This tragedy, and I didn't know you guys and live counties away, but it's already made me think different. I've got 8 little grandkids, and they love to come there, and I've got a couple grandsons that are tractor crazy.
Yep.
And I think differently now. Here not too long ago, I was literally moving a gate, big heavy cattle panel, and when I set it up there, in my mind, I thought, I've got to chain that because one of those grandkids is going to climb it.
Little
And
people
it's
are
gonna
around.
fall
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And or if I'm on the skid loader and you can't see, but I got off, which is a pain in the butt. Unbuckle, get off, and I just walked around, made sure that they had taken me back in the house. And I didn't know anything about the Maverick Minute yet, but I took that minute. Everything was fine.
Yep.
I don't regret wasting that minute.
Absolutely not.
It gave me peace of mind.
Yeah.
We want to give people tools that they will never forget. I told Steph early on, Daryl Duffy was my shop teacher at Brownstown Central High School. And he showed, when we had shop class, we went through some safety training. He showed a black and white video. It was probably filmed in the late 50s or something, but it was on grinding wheels. And so the guy's running the grinding wheel. He doesn't have safety glasses on. It comes apart. It was so graphic of what that guy's face and eye looked like, and he was blind. It was just almost gross and sickening. There is not a time that I don't go to a grinder that I don't think about that, and I turn around and go get the glasses, and I've never forgot that video, and it's 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I told her, that's what I want us to do. I want us to make a tool or tools that people will never forget they saw it. We're not trying to be so graphic, but it gets right. It's that serious. It is graphic. It is real. It is, when it happens to you, it is graphic.
Yeah.
And
it is. And my generation, we talked about this. I went to Seymour High School, and they brought convocation and the Mad Moms a week before prom and filled the auditorium. And I will never, ever forget the song that played with that video. And every time I hear that song by Phil Collins, I go back to that auditorium and I think about drunk driving. And it was, there were kids walking out ill watching this. And the point isn't to necessarily make it, we're not going to be graphic. We just want you to really understand this message pretty deeply. And as much as other farm families want to share their stories, I think people need to know that this isn't just every once in a while that this happens. This is an everyday occurrence at some level of injury. This is just is what it is. Like Tony said, I remember growing up and watching all kinds of my grandpa doing things. My brother almost lost his fingers. Like there's a lot of, it just happens. So pause, inspect, and protect.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that was the number one thing that you said, that people could get involved by just doing that practice.
That's right.
And that
just
was
do it.
And the next thing is just watch, share, and follow, because what's coming, and
Correct.
be aware of the maverickminute.org, that there's going to be some places where people can get plugged in and give if that's how, and kind of see how we can make this thing get bigger. Because I tell you, the same thing as what Jeff was saying is last night, we had this coming up today, and I'm on the backhoe and it's dark, and I got the lights on, and I'm doing, we got snow and weather coming. And so I'm piling up some firewood with the backhoe, and I had, I didn't want to be out there all night. So I was going to give my wife and daughter kind of a job to pull a tarp over the top. And I was like, I'm going to do that because those two don't need to be out here around this big pile that I just created. And so I kind of checked that off the box and
Makes you think different.
yeah, it makes you think just makes you think a little bit different.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. But,
And I guess the main thing we'd ask from you two is that we get invited back to give an update one of these days.
we'd like to have you
We'd
back.
love to do that.
And
And thank you for sharing your story
Absolutely.
about your mom and Maverick. So
Yeah.
thanks for being so brave and for taking this and you and Tony taking this to where it won't just stop at one incident and one story, and that this will be something that people can apply on their own farm or their business or their personal lives, whether it's just driving a truck or driving a car. But to take this practice, this pause, inspect, and protect, and make it bigger, and teach a culture of safety where we won't lose those kids or the adults.
Right.
So, well, Jeff, we made it through. We've been talking about this. We knew it was coming, and we certainly thank you all for coming, and we will have you back. And if we're here and you're there, we'll be here. But I got a feeling that this thing we'll get legs under it pretty quick.
We're going to do our best.
All right, Jeff. Anything else for our guest?
no, thanks for sharing with us.
Absolutely.
And I think you've laid out a pretty good challenge to Harold.
Good.
That's right.
Tell him to call me.
All right. Well, that's another episode of The High Ground brought to you by Premier Companies. Thank you all very much.